Are you comfortable in English or Hindi or whatever? Both? Sounds good. Okay. All right. So yeah, I used to sit somewhere around here and sometimes around there. The same class, right? यहीं से शुरू किया था. Like 2010 I joined BIT and then 14 में we graduated, right? And वो 4 साल में I got this push, why I joined GATE. मुझे क्यों करना था? So basically, I had passion for programming a lot, and I was in IT branch in BIT from 2010, right? And fifth semester में I actually planned to participate in one of the very prestigious tech fests of Kharagpur, which you might have known, like right? There's a tech fest which is there. So I participated in that, and मेरे actually उस समय के जो batchmates रहे थे स्कूल से, they were already studying in IIT Kharagpur at that time, right? Kshitij में participate कर रहा था मैं, right? So that I recall. So during that, right, when I went there, and then I was learning OS because I was in fifth semester, right? So I was very cocky about it. Okay. So I was very, I had that pride कि okay नहीं मुझे semaphores बहुत अच्छे से आता है. I know how the scheduler works and everything. So I just thought, I just got a window to, just look at how my actually fellow is doing in IIT. So just discussed about that, and obviously क्योंकि हमारी एज सेम थी, हमारा ज्वाइनिंग का टाइमिंग सेम था, just that I was in BIT, he was in IIT. We were studying the same thing, OS, right? So हुआ ये कि I asked him, okay, show me what you're studying. I'm studying this, that, right? So that particular moment when he showed me what he was doing actually just twisted my mind, right? In that 5 seconds, I was stunned because whatever I was learning as part of OS, as part of my curriculum, was very theoretical. I knew what a semaphore is, how it is operating, right, inside the OS. But what he was doing is he was actually creating those semaphores as form of POSIX threads in C. So at that particular point of time, I thought like, मैं क्या पढ़ रहा हूँ, right? At that particular time, I thought the मेरा जो curriculum है, right, it's not mature enough. I need something else, right? Some aspects which I really need to go into deep, and so that I can actually understand how these things work. And that's the whole motivation I got from that, right? उसके बाद ही मैंने decide किया कि नहीं यार कुछ पढ़ना है तो let's do something else. So then I got to know कि okay, there is a way you can actually get admissions in those prestigious colleges, right? And that's how I landed it. And obviously Siddharth sir ने मुझे हमेशा से ही काफी अच्छे से गाइड किया है. At particular point of time, people are very confused, like what they have to do. Like सब कोई भेड़ चाल चले जा रहा है. मेरे टाइम में there was a trend, everybody was into engineering, every single person, whether he or she knows about what engineering में होता क्या है, और किसी को पता ही नहीं होता था, बस चले जा रहे हैं. Same kind of wave was there in my duration as well with respect to GATE. But I really knew that what I am getting into, what I have to deal with, because मेरे curriculum में यानी कि IT के curriculum में there were some subjects which were not even there, right? Which I was studying as part of my curriculum in BIT. और CSC से अगर exam आपको देना है तो you have to study TOC, you have to study ADA. See, ADA was not part of my curriculum. Can you imagine that? So that was the situation at that particular point of time. So tough tha, but it happens. Like you tend to find your way. If you're really motivated, right? If you really want to get it, there is a way to get it, right? और मेरी मेनली स्ट्रैटेजी जब भी रही है ना गेट के लिए, इट वाज नॉट अबाउट कि यार मैं सब कुछ कवर कर लूं, ये कर लूं, वो कर लूं, नहीं. My strategy was always how to tackle the paper. You know, how should be my strategy in those 3 hours, that I can optimize my rough work, I can optimize the sections, the various sections which are there in the paper, right? And how can I actually answer them in that particular 3 hours? अपना adrenaline rush को कैसे control करना है? So ये कैसे होता है? You need to practice. You need to practice, give those tests, sectional tests, the subject tests, the full length tests at the end, right? So you need to have that strategy, right? कि आप कैसे tackle करोगे इस पेपर को. यस, एंड यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन योर बेसिक्स, क्योंकि बेसिक्स अगर आपके स्ट्रांग हैं, यू कैन नेवर गो रॉन्ग. And this is true till this particular time, right? I've been 7 years in Microsoft. Each and every day मुझे कहीं ना कहीं रियलाइज हुआ है कि अगर मेरे बेसिक स्ट्रांग नहीं होते, तो शायद जिस एंटरप्राइज लेवल एप्लीकेशन पे मैं आज काम कर रहा हूँ, आई वुडेंट हैव बीन एबल टू डू इट. यू नो व्हाई? बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज वेरी वेरी मच रिलेटेबल टू द रियल लाइफ, राइट? सो सीएस का बेस क्या है? सीएस का बेस है मैथमेटिक्स, राइट? मैथमेटिक्स से ही डिराइव हुआ है सीएस, राइट? एंड वो फाउंडेशनल नॉलेज इज वेरी वेरी क्रुशियल always. Now we have derivatives of CSE, right? We have AI, we have ML, we have now generative AI, right? All these different branches are coming in. So you need to keep your focus on the fundamentals. अपनी coding skills को अच्छा रखो. अपने basics जो architecture है, computer architecture है, foundational computer science है, right? TOC है, ये सबको strong रखना पड़ेगा आपको, क्योंकि ये सिर्फ आपको अभी काम नहीं आएगा. I'm realizing this as I speak as an industry expert, right? I've been here. इतना ज्यादा काम आता है ये सब कुछ. At some point of time, you just say देखो कि snap, this is a particular algorithm I can apply here, right? ऐसा होता है. और वो मैजिक मोमेंट्स आपको क्रिएट करने के लिए ना, you need to have your base strong. Okay? And why I'm stressing on, keep your coding skills up, because यहाँ से आप बहुत अच्छे से क्लियर करके बहुत अच्छा रैंक भी ले आओगे. बट गेटिंग देयर इज वन जर्नी, surviving there is another journey. To survive there, you need to keep your foundations as well as your coding skills strong. क्योंकि वहां पर जब आप पहुंचोगे ना, you are an M.tech. There are B.tech folks who are already churning in the same environment, same pressurized environment from so many years, and you now have to compete with them in the placements at the end of the day, right? So you need to focus on the basics. You need to focus on your object-oriented programming skills. Understand and imagine how a class is, what an object is. Why do we need inheritance? Why do we need polymorphism? ये सब चीज आपको क्लियर होना चाहिए. ये एक बहुत अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है आपके लिए कि आपको एंट्रेंस कैसे मिलेगा. अब आपको खुद से भी मेहनत करनी है टू जस्टिफाई कि हाँ हम वहां पहुंच गए हैं, बट अब वहां पर सर्वाइव कैसे करना है ये आपके हाथ में है. सो आप अपनी कोडिंग स्किल्स को भी हमेशा रिफाइन करते रहिए. दैट वुड बी माई की टेक अवे फ्रॉम दिस एक्सरसाइज, बिकॉज आई हैव सीन, इन मेरे बैच में ही मैंने देखा था from 14 to 16, right? I was doing MTech in Kharagpur, and there were some of my batchmates who were like, they had really, really good foundational skills. They were really good with algorithms. They were really good with like what data structure can be applied. But due to the lack of coding skills, right, they were not able to complete their assignments in time. अब वहाँ things are very strict. वहाँ 12 बजे डेडलाइन है, मतलब 12 बजे पोर्टल बंद हो जाएगा. You cannot upload your assignments anymore, and that directly reflects on your GPA. So focus on your basics, focus on your coding skills, and that's how you steer your way around this. Exactly. Okay. If there are any questions, I can take it up. Sure. So for me, how it worked, it is not one size fits all, first of all. Okay. It's not like that. It's like you need to find your own strategy कि यहाँ पे भी बराबर ध्यान देना है और कोडिंग पे भी बराबर ध्यान देना है, राइट? कैसे करोगे ये आपको फिगर आउट करना है. पर मेरे लिए क्या काम किया, मेरे लिए, बिकॉज लाइक आई रियली हैड दिस थ्राइव टू कोड. ओके, सो आई यूज्ड टू डू अ लॉट ऑफ फ्रीलांसिंग. मैं वेबसाइट्स बनाता था. आई गॉट अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन माई कॉलेज with my professors. They used to get me good projects from outside. And मैंने यहाँ भिलाई में ही एक सेक्टर 4 में there is a community called भिलाई. For them we developed a website. So वहाँ से मेरा मैंने जो ट्रेनिंग में सीखा, अपनी वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग में सीखा, I used to get to the vocational training centers. अब तो आपके पास आजकल एक्सपोजर है, you have options to you do internships, right? हमारे टाइम पे उतना अवेयरनेस नहीं था. So we used to do vocational trainings. तो उस समय हम HTML, CSS and all these sophisticated tools which are used to develop a website, वो सब हमने vocational training के part में सीखा. And then we used to get some projects with the help of some faculty members or some fellows who are actually studying with you, right? They can get those opportunities for you. और उस तरीके से आप ये प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो क्या होता है ना, if you're doing, just giving you an example, right? Don't latch on it. जब freelancing करते हो, right? You have a customer. And when I'm in an industry, right? I also have a customer. So a customer mindset develop होता है. Though you're not writing enterprise level applications, you're not writing tests for your code, but it actually gives you a visualization like how actually can things turn out when you are graduated and then placed in a reputed company, right? So usliye na, I used to code a lot. I used to develop websites. I used to develop Android apps. Abhi kya trending hai, you guys know, right? Like currently what I'm working on is with the GPT, right? The generative AI models I'm working with. I'm developing some co-pilot experiences around CRM Dynamics 365. It's a product of Microsoft. Okay. So GPT को center पे रख के, I'm writing prompts around it. I'm trying to orchestrate the experience for the seller community. ठीक है? So coding कम हो गई, prompts ज़्यादा लिख रहा हूँ. So that paradigm shift is happening, but you need to figure out that. You need to keep yourself up to date, right? Keep your foundations, be in touch what is currently going on in the company. These two things will obviously help you in those 2 years which you will spend in your higher studies. Any other questions? Please. Okay, so here's a very interesting thing, okay? How it works for me, again, don't quote me on this. Everybody has to have their own strategy around a gate paper. Okay, so kya karta tha? You know, will be very familiar with what the online visualization or the UX looks like for the gate, right? So during the tests, right, what I used to do is make check marks banata tha. Okay, the after attempting a question, it is turning into violet, for example. Now, if I attempted the question, that violet will come as a green tick. So mindset बनाता था कि अच्छा पहले सारे वायलेट करूंगा, फिर वायलेट के बाद सारे वायलेट में ग्रीन टिक होना चाहिए, फिर उसके बाद वापस आऊंगा और फिर चेक करूंगा कि अच्छा कौन सा मिस हुआ. और मैं कभी भी, आई हैड अ टाइम लिमिट, आई विल नॉट स्पेंड मोर देन एक्स amount of time on a specific question. Okay, and that's how I moved on. And the most important thing out of everything is how you manage your rough work. Trust me, rough work management is something which plays a very important role in a gate preparation. Okay, when you're sitting in that hall for 3 hours, you have a particular notebook, right, which will also be given by them, right? So I had strategies. मुझे पता था कि वो कैसी दिखती है. So लोग उसको नोटपैड की तरह यूज करें, मैंने उसको रोटेट कर दिया, मैंने उसको लैंडस्केप बनाया, मैंने ऐसे यूज किया. वो इजी है, right? What I used to do was I used to divide the each and every page into quadrants, and each quadrant is representing a question. और मैं क्वेश्चन नंबर लिख लेता था. So that should be your strategy. This is just an example, right? How you can tackle your rough work. क्योंकि क्या होता है when you revisit a question, खोजते हो कि अरे रफ कहाँ गया मेरा. So how do you grab that context back? It's difficult. So if you manage your rough work properly, you can actually improve on the timing of a particular question when you are revisiting, backtracking. Further questions? Feel free to ask. It's a good opportunity. मुझे नहीं मिली थी. Anything you want to know about the industry, how the trend is going, anything you can ask, apart from gate as well. Okay, now that is a very interesting question. Okay, the question was, did I actually knew I have to pursue a specific domain in MTech? No, I clearly didn't had any idea unless I was started working on my major project in my college. So see, that's how thing turns around, right? So that's the beauty of it. So vocational training किया, websites बनाई, gate join किया, gate कर रहे हैं साथ में. 7th semester आया, major training हुई. अब major training में what I learned at that particular point of time, Android applications were like on a boom. हर कोई बना रहा था because Android Studio was so accessible. There were so many tutorials going around. और इतनी सारी ट्रेनिंग्स हो रही थी अक्रॉस कि सॉर्ट लेट्स राइड द बैंड वैगन, व्हाई नॉट। तो मैंने एंड्रॉइड ऐप्स में अपना हाथ डाला, एंड बिकॉज आई हैड सम प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस विद वेबसाइट्स, आई न्यू हाउ एपीआई वर्कड. So I try to integrate the backend, with API, with MySQL as a database, right? So I try to integrate and bridge that gap between an Android app and the backend. और फिर वहां से मेरा इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हुआ कि यार वाकई में एंड्रॉइड तो मतलब समथिंग विच इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. So when I came back to, I came into the actually the MTech degree, right? So first 2 semesters are like completely curriculum. You have to compete. There are courses, there are labs. Very intensive schedule is there. You need to just keep your pace up with that. बहुत असाइनमेंट्स होते हैं, बहुत सारी क्लासेस होती हैं. देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो पैटर्न इन व्हाट द एंड सम पेपर विल लुक लाइक. प्रोफेसर का जो मन करता है ना, वो उस हिसाब से सिलेबस डिसाइड करता है, उसी हिसाब से क्वेश्चन बना के देता है. और ट्रस्ट मी, आई ऑल्सो हैड अ एंड सम एग्जामिनेशन विच वॉज एन ओपन बुक टेस्ट. So we were you supposed to bring anything with us as a reference to write the paper, and trust me, it was tough. It was embedded systems, if I remember correctly. So इस तरह से एग्जाम्स होते हैं, राइट? तो आपको धीरे धीरे ना वो प्रेशर तो रहेगा, बट उसको टैकल करने के लिए वो मोटिवेशन आपको क्लियर रखना पड़ेगा. तो मेरे को एंड्रॉइड का पैशन था, सो मैंने उस हिसाब से वहां पर उसमें काउंसलिंग होती है, क्योंकि आपका सेकेंड ईयर में आप पूरी तरह प्रोजेक्ट में इन्वॉल्व रहोगे आपकी थीसिस के लिए, राइट? सो सेकेंड ईयर में आपको एक गाइड चाहिए होता है. So I explored around the CSE department who is actually working on this technology. So I found one, Professor Niloy Ganguly और Professor Sandeep Chakravarti. उनके अंदर मैंने काम किया है. So they were actually working on localization problem. Okay. So localization मतलब basically we were trying to achieve some kind of coordinate without using GPS. Why? Because GPS is actually very power hungry, right? So उस वजह से हम लोग ट्राई कर रहे थे कि inertial sensors के थ्रू कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या, and all those things. So at part of that particular thing, right, I used to develop Android apps to, track down the data. I used to stand in buses, taking 4 phones in my hand, trailing the bus trails just to collect that data. तो वो कहाँ से आ रहा है वो पैशन? वहीं से आ रहा है कि I knew from 7th semester कि नहीं, मुझे एंड्रॉइड में लगता है मुझे कुछ कर पाऊंगा. And leveraging that particular thing, we were able to nail it down. We defined, basically derived a new finite automata which is called probabilistic timed automata. हमने बनाया वो, we got it copyrighted also. And then we published a paper which is Urban Eye, and that paper is basically all about how do you actually localize a particular phone without using GPS. And Google offline maps use किया होगा आपने. So that algorithm is part of that. It is cited there. So that's how it is, right? If you know you want to do something, you need to be really passionate about it, right? और कुछ लोग का क्या है, if you're lost now, you still have time to, create that focus, create that sharp edge to, कि मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ इसमें से. So there are n number of possibilities. Computer science में आजकल क्या नहीं आ गया है, right? So recently मुझे जैसे मैंने बताया, right, I'm working with the large language models, GPT के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ, right? That's my new passion now. So मैं मेरे लिए एक पूरा नया पैराडाइम है. It's like I have a huge learning curve ahead of me. I'm learning things and I'm adapting on it. I'm teaching also in Microsoft, and then also we are writing enterprise application on top of it. It's a journey. So mini milestones आपके life में बहुत सारे आएंगे. So you need to be focused always. Further questions? Anything you want to know about? We can also talk life. That's another story. Sure. It will always be. That's my question, like answer to you. Short answer. Long answer इसके बाद देता हूँ, बोलो. Okay. So I think the second question, what you actually meant was, yes, Microsoft allows moonlighting, if that is the term which you are looking for. Like you can actually work on our own personal projects while working on the regular routine of Microsoft, right? You can absolutely do it unless there is a direct conflict of interest with Microsoft, right? So if suppose, giving a very vague example, if you are a software developer in Microsoft and you're selling ice creams, go ahead and do it. Nobody's stopping you to do it. But if you are doing something, you're working on a project in Microsoft which involves ML, AI, and you're also working on a freelancing project which also involves ML and AI, you can actually leverage your learnings there, right? That is a conflict of interest because Microsoft has signed up a contract with you that whatever R&D you're doing while being employed with Microsoft is a property of Microsoft, right? That intellectual thing is also a property of Microsoft, right? The rat race part, it's always there, right? किसको नहीं है? Everybody is very, very competitive. नहीं है. Everybody is running. But in that race, so-called race, I don't call it a race. It's always a marathon, you know? It always latches onto you. You are the pivot of everything, right? If you decide that you have a milestone to achieve, that is X, and there are several milestones ahead of it, doesn't matter, right? That was your goal. That is a different thing that if you want to pursue further, that's a completely different story. But you should know that where your satisfaction lies, right? That is a particular thing which, you should have that mindset. It's called growth mindset. You learn from your mistakes and you learn upon it and then pitch it forward, right? And that's how you just segregate yourself from others. Then you will not be part of your rat race. You will be part of your own marathon and you're running alone. And only you know that what milestones you have, how do you want to achieve and when do you want to achieve it. So competition रखना है तो खुद से रखो, बाकियों से नहीं. At the end of the day वही होता है कि inferiority complex आता है, यार वो तो अच्छा कर रहा है, मैं अच्छा नहीं कर रहा हूँ. क्या पता तुम्हारा बार क्या है. अगर तुम्हारा बार ये है और वो वहां है, उसका बार वो है ना, तुम अपने बार पे देखो. अगर तुम वो बार वहां रख रहे हो, work for it. You need to work for it to achieve that. But set your expectations right from the very beginning कि करना क्या है. Or whenever you are confused, ask for help. You have such a good guidance here. यहीं से मैं भी आया हूँ, right? यहीं पर बैठ के we used to give sectional tests, all the tests. और फिर उसके बाद हम डिस्कशन करते थे यहाँ पे. यहीं पर रिवीजन किया है. कुछ डिफरेंट नहीं है. It's all the same thing. It's all about mindset. Any further questions? Let's not have questions. Let's interact. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get the last part. That depends on your interest. The question was, should I actually focus on just the core CSE subjects or should I actually navigate the focus towards the new trending AI and ML streams? Again, that depends, right? See, one thing is that there are two strategies actually, and neither of them are wrong. Okay. First strategy is you know yourself better, right? कि नहीं, मुझे पता है, I know I am a master of complex networks. I know how a complex network works. I will pursue my master's in complex networks. So I'll study around it. Second approach is you are actually a bit confused, but you are with someone who can guide you, right? In that particular case, what happens is, you have the cadre, you have the potential, but you need to have some kind of guidance. So that guidance basically takes you to the journey. So both the strategies are correct. It's up to you. If you have interest in suppose some core CSE things, there's so many things left to be, there are so many problems unsolved, right? कौन बोलता है core CSE में problems नहीं है solve करने के लिए? Windows is not perfect and neither is iOS or Mac, right? So there are still R&D going around it. and we are still trying our level best to enhance the customer experience as much as we can. And we're trying to adapt, innovate in such a way that we understand कि customer को next क्या चाहिए होगा. That's a problem which I am facing. And that's something which is driving me further towards my career journey. At your particular stage, you need to focus on कि like, मैं किस चीज पे काम करूंगा और what will make me happy. See, when I walk down, right, for the office, I'm very, very energetic. Because I know वहां जाके मैं बहुत सारी white boarding करूंगा, कुछ तो कोड लिखूंगा, और फिर उसके बाद बढ़िया से डिजाइन डिस्कशन करके घर आ जाऊंगा. I know that, but I love it. You need to find that love, right? So it can be in AI, it can be in ML, it can be in operating systems, it can be in computer networks or complex networks. और बताओ, what else? ज्यादा अंग्रेजी हो रही है तो वही बता देना भाई, हिंदी में बात कर लेंगे. बोलो बोलो, शर्माओ नहीं. Get comfortable. Oh, is it? I don't know how to operate this. Can someone help me? Is it a chat box? Okay. So one thing I want to ask to you is that, can I take 2 or 3 years for preparation for my GATE exam? See, it depends, right? See, a lot of factors come into picture when this kind of question is coming, right? What is your actual age? Age matters. Okay. People say age don't matter. Age matters. But if you are actually very young, right? 21, 22, 23, it's still a very young age. You can actually go ahead and experiment. You can try ahead and steer your way around. And if you have time ahead in your career, you can actually try, take risks. कि नहीं, मैंने ऐसा भी देखा था, like in my particular batch, if I remember correctly, there was one particular student who was 5 years down the line, they have done the job and they quit the job and then joined MTech. 5 साल job करने के बाद. So still they felt that need, right? कि नहीं, मुझे मजा नहीं आ रहा है. I need to do something better, right? So they were in a service-based industry, right? Cognizant, TCS. Maybe वहां पर जो वर्क कल्चर है, मे बी वहां का जो काम है वो पसंद नहीं आया, तो उनको लगा कि नहीं, I can do better, I can learn more, and maybe I can, make better use of my skills somewhere else where I can actually get exposure. IIIT में MTech किया, they went to VMware. The skills are better utilized there, right? And work culture is also better. So depend करता है आप कैसे कर सकते हो. कि if you think 2 years is good to invest them. 3 years is enough, invest them. Do a calculated risk. Always do a calculative risk. कि इतने साल अगर इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो यहाँ पहुंचेंगे, उसके बाद 2 साल और एमटेक है, फिर मैं इतने साल का हो जाऊंगा या हो जाऊंगी, और उसके बाद मेरे पास इतना टाइम रहेगा टू कवर अप दैट गैप. Do that calculation. People do that calculation and then come to GATE, come to that coaching, and then they ramp up and then they give it, right? कुछ लोग तो काम करते करते जॉब के साथ साथ गेट प्रिपरेशन करके गेट में रैंक लेके आके एमटेक कर रहे, ऐसा भी हुआ है. आई नो सच कलीग्स ऑफ माइन. सो there is no foundations to it. It's all about how you have planned your career ahead. And if you're confused, you have experts here to reach out to. I'll also leave my number or email ID, whatever you prefer. You can always reach out to me. भिलाई ने मेरे को बहुत कुछ दिया है, मैं हमेशा स्टूडेंट्स के लिए रहा हूँ, ठीक है? So I'll leave my contact here. Let's see if we have any other questions. Meanwhile, if somebody has question here, we can talk. Oh my God, there are tons of questions. Okay, sir, I'm in beginning of 3rd semester, starting preparing for grades, but I'm getting it tough to manage with coding. Again, I'll circle back to the same thing, right? If it is getting trickier for you, you need to revisit your strategy. How much time you're giving it to social media, reduce that. How much time you're giving to studies, how much time you're giving to your coding skills. Everything is important, even your social media. It's a stress buster, right? People get into hobbies now. अब आजकल चला है भाई, ठीक है सोशल मीडिया का, ठीक है, यू फिक्स दैट टाइम कि नहीं इतने टाइम मैं इंस्टाग्राम सॉल्व करूंगा, इतने टाइम मैं पढ़ूंगा, इतने टाइम मैं कोड लिखूंगा. Do that division. It is required. And the earlier you realize it, the better you will do. Always remember that. वो आज नहीं रियलाइज होगा तो 4 साल बाद रियलाइज होगा, नहीं तो 5 साल बाद रियलाइज होगा, नहीं तो तब रियलाइज होगा जब गाड़ी छूट जाएगी, बट होगा. So it's better to get that realization early and plan your day accordingly. Any questions here? माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में रेज्यूमे शॉर्टलिस्ट कराने की टिप्स. गुड क्वेश्चन. Work on your resume, buddy. Work on it. If you have something substantial to showcase, we will select. I also recruit for Microsoft, by the way. It's been like 4 odd years I have been recruiting. I have a question. I think I covered it, but let's talk about it. Sir, after clearing the GATE exam, how do I improve my coding skills? Can I cope up with the curriculum? I I think I had a very quick video with, I think यहीं पर सिद्धार्थ सर के YouTube gallery में कहीं होगा. But I covered this part. You know, when you clear GATE, there's still some time left before you join. If you are dedicated enough and you're not partying hard, that is very important. You can put all that time to cover coding skills, right? और वो लगेगा. I am telling you, and I will be very brutally honest with you. People who didn't knew coding, मेरे बैचमेट में एक जन ने चाकू यहाँ रख लिया था रात में 3:30 बजे. ठीक है, so that serious it is. People go into depression अगर नहीं होता है तो. You should always be mindful what you are getting into. करिकुलम भी है, कोड लिखने आना चाहिए. ठीक है. Does CGPA matter in B.Tech while joining M.Tech and also while placements? Yes, it does. I'm 23. Okay, no, wait. I'm 23 now, currently working in a service-based company facing pressure, sir. Yes, I get your pain. What's your name? Shiva. I get your pain. And trust me, buddy. There are some of my colleagues who went through the same pain, and few of them actually excelled also. Okay, so be there, hang in there. I know there's those deadlines are to be met. Those deployments have to go on the right time. You need to write those unit test cases and everything. You need to do all the code logic checks, everything. But yes, you need to be there. Be persistent, I would say. You need to be very persistent. You need to have that drive ki nahi, why you opted for this. Keep remembering that and make sure you get the enough motivation from the same thought and hold that thought, and you will do it. How is your experience of moving far away from home, because all the MNCs are in metro cities, and how do you manage family? A personal question. Okay, good one. It's a very fair point, right? See, at the end of the day, it's all about family. At least that's what my ideology is. Don't quote me on this. I believe that. Yes, you need to strike a proper work-life balance. And Microsoft has been kind enough to give me that flexibility to have a hybrid model in which, जैसे मैं अभी यहाँ भिलाई में दिख रहा हूँ, परसों सुबह मैं हैदराबाद में दिखाई दूंगा. 3 week में I was here. I had my time. I enjoyed my time going back, but I was working while I was here. I had a very big release which was showcased to Satya Nadella last week. Okay, so it is very tricky, but if you have a good company, a good work culture, at that time you can actually do a good mix and balance of the personal aspects as well as the professional aspects. It's always a taraju. It is always that, and you need to strike a proper balance, and you will get your way around it. My experience have been 7 years. In first few years, I also struggled with this. I got homesick obviously everybody does during my MTech, right? I never left home before MTech. My whole education, I was born and brought up in Bhilai. My education was in Bhilai. And then whole my first BTech journey was also in Bhilai. And suddenly I was kept some few, hundreds of kilometers away from my home. And then I found a new home there. I felt homesick, yes, but I turned my way around it, steered my way around it, and then got stabilized. There are huge learnings. जब अपने पैरों पे खड़े होगे ना, a lot of things will come into your way and you'll learn. You'll get mature. Okay, so it happens. It will work out. So what are the pre-skills required for MTech? I already mentioned that. Keep your basics strong, keep your coding skills strong, and make sure that you know what you're doing and keep your focus around it. Oh, this is a good one. So when did you join for GATE coaching and how did you strategize your approach? What was your revision strategy and test strategy? Let's revisit the second part. I think first part I already answered, like how did I worked around my paper, right? Revision and what was the last part? Test. Thank you. Revision part, right? Very interesting. So what I did was once all of my subjects, like, any topics get covered, what I used to do is when I'm on a second topic, right? Every day एक सवाल लगा लेता था पहले टॉपिक का. सो उससे ना क्या होता है, यू कीप ऑन रिमेम्बरिंग कि अच्छा दिस वाज द टॉपिक व्हिच आई रिविजिटेड एंड नाउ आई एम जस्ट डूइंग अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ इट, सो दैट उससे आपके दिमाग में हमेशा रहता है कि अच्छा नहीं मेरे ये कंसेप्ट भी हैं, और अगर आप वहां कुछ भूलोगे तो तुरंत पन्ने पलट लो, देखो ये है. सो उससे व्हाट हैपेंस इज यू आर परसिस्टेंट इन योर अप्रोच, राइट? आप क्वेश्चंस भी आंसर कर रहे हो, आप पढ़ भी रहे हो, और ऐसे आप धीरे धीरे करते जाओगे. एट अ टाइम यू विल रीच when you are ready with all the subjects. I created a very nice handbook of my own, who only can I understand, nobody else can, because I maintain my own notes. It was a 30 pages copy. उसमें ना सब शॉर्टकट्स लिखे थे, ऐसे ही जैसे प्री ऑर्डर ट्रैवर्सल हो गया, पोस्ट ऑर्डर ट्रैवर्सल हो गया, पंपिंग लेमा हो गया, थिंग्स लाइक दैट, राइट? ऑल दीज थिंग्स आई यूज टू कीप थिंग्स हैंडी. एक बार सुबह उठता था, एक महीने पहले ऐसे पलटा, रख दिया. हर टॉपिक नहीं बोलूंगा, हर सब्जेक्ट का एक एक क्वेश्चन लगा लेता था. दैट्स हाउ यू कीप दैट लूप गोइंग. ठीक है, आप जैसे ही एक सब्जेक्ट छोड़ के दूसरे सब्जेक्ट पे आते हो, ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको टच छोड़ देना है, क्योंकि आपको हमेशा वो चीज में जंग लग जाता है टाइम के बाद. तो यू नीड टू कीप रिवाइजिंग थिंग्स. सो दैट्स हाउ यू डू इट. एक सवाल लगा लो, एक सवाल लगाने में कितना टाइम लगता है? नहीं बन रहा, देख के बना लो, उसके बाद एक और सवाल बना लो, बन जाएगा, राइट? सो दैट्स माय रिवीजन एंड टेस्टिंग स्ट्रेटजी. टेस्ट के लिए सबसे पहले गिव सेक्शनल टेस्ट्स, then subject tests, then multi-subject tests, and then test series, full length test. Full length test का एक बहुत important फंडा बता रहा हूँ. When you're giving your full length tests, by that time you will know कि आपका गेट का टाइम स्लॉट क्या है. उन लास्ट के कुछ दिनों में ना, मेक दैट सेटिंग, टेबल, चेयर, पंखा जैसा भी रहता है, डोंट एसी वैसी मत एक्सपेक्ट करो, पता नहीं वहां होगा नहीं होगा क्या पता. उस सेटिंग में बैठ के प्रॉपरली वो 3 घंटा उसी टाइम स्लॉट में देना. 10 से 1 है तो 10 से 1 में ही दो. उससे होता क्या ना, माइंड उस समय अलर्ट रहता है. हो सकता है ना कि किसी को सुबह उठने की जल्दी नहीं, मतलब आदत नहीं है, तो वो 10 से 1 बैठोगे ना तो माइंड एक्टिव रहेगा उस टाइम पे. तो फुल लेंथ टेस्ट जब आप कवर करो तो उसी टाइम स्लॉट में करो जो आपके एडमिशन कार्ड में आया है, जिसमें आपको स्लॉट में आपको पेपर देना है. So that helps a lot, right? Okay, taking the next one. 30 new messages. Have you done any kind of internships in BTech? No, I did not had enough exposure. I did vocational trainings, as I mentioned. First one was all regarding how I used to design the websites using Photoshop. There was a technology called Flash. I don't know if you are aware of it. Then we used Dreamweaver to, develop all this different UX designs and everything. The second vocational training I did as a part of the major training, which I did was an Android application development. That's it, nothing else. One second, I'll take that. Sir, I have interest in app development and was all learning also, but left to prepare for GATE. Is this right? Or should I do both by managing? I would say do both here. Why do you want to leave a particular interest of yours? You don't know. You might end up developing Android applications or maybe iOS applications down the line. Do not leave that. If you have passion for something, you please pursue it. I had professional training in music while doing my routine. I used to wake up very early. यहाँ आता था, क्लास होती थी, कॉलेज जाता था, कॉलेज आया, घर आया, खाना उड़ेला, आधे घंटे में वापस फिर गिटार क्लास चलती थी रात भर 11:30 बजे तक. That how it is. And I still I am in touch with it, right? You know, I have a band in Microsoft as well. I do play guitar. I have lead vocals as well. Okay, I'll leave my social handles as well so that you can still be connected on the social media as well. So you need to understand कि क्या priorities है life में. मुझे music करना मैं करूँगा. मेरे हर संडे पोस्ट आए हैं. पिछले 4 साल से मैंने कोई संडे स्किप नहीं किया है. चारों साल से सुबह 7 बजे संडे को कल सुबह भी आएगा. एक गाना मैं गा के दूंगा. That's my discipline, right? If I maintain that discipline, it is helping me only, not just for my music, but also my day-to-day activities, right? If I have a discipline, it really helps. It really helps to not lose track of things, right? It's important. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah. No. So I do technical rounds only. So see, what happens is, how it works is HR will have some kind of recruitment drive going on. Okay, they will have some preconditions. They will conduct some type of hacker rank or hacker tests. They will filter out things. And then what we get is a set of candidates who are ready to give interviews. Now that HR becomes a mediator over a Teams call, and we are sitting 12 hours down the line without having anything but just take interviews. So ऐसा रहता है. So actually, not everybody is immediately eligible to take that interviews. I also had my own training before I was eligible enough to be that much responsible to of bearing that heavy responsibility on my shoulders to recruit someone for a prestigious company like Microsoft, right? So it's actually a big responsibility. 5 questions. So while you are hiring for Microsoft, what potential you look in candidate? How much important CP is? What is CP? Oh, see, I'm getting old. Okay, how important is competitive programming? I'll tell you how important competitive programming is. Okay, it's not the only thing. Okay, this is a huge misconception that जो लोग सोचते हैं ना कि I'll mug up everything which is in Geeks for Geeks. I'll mug up everything whatever is in lead code. मैं ये code chef कर लिया, ये कर लिया. अच्छी बात है भाई, करो. I'm not saying that is wrong. It broadens up your mindset. It broadens up your problem solving skills. It makes you somewhat better at your coding skills also. But when you come to your interview rounds, right, I'm not going to ask you those questions. I'm going to give you a very, very vague real life referential problem. And I'm not going to check even syntax for that. I will just check your approach, how you write your pseudocode. And if your base is not strong, I'm not going to filter you. Okay. Yeah. I think holistic development is something which you should focus more on. Competitive coding, there is a flavor of coding. Okay. There are some kind of questions. अगर एक type का question लगा लिया तो उस type के questions बन जाते हैं. Like, how do you find a loop in your linked list, right? Using 2 pointers, एक fast, एक slow. This kind of questions निकाल सकते हो। लिंक्डइन के क्वेश्चन हो गए, लिंक लिस्ट के, फिर उसके बाद डेटा स्ट्रक्चर से रिलेटेड हो गया कि नहीं ट्रीज हो गया, ट्राइज हो गया, राइट, ग्राफ हो गया, इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस लगाने चाहिए। आई एम नॉट डिस्करेजिंग, द क्वेश्चन वाज हाउ मच डिट मैटर्ड, दैट्स वेयर आई से इट डजंट मैटर। इफ यू नो इट, amazing. If you don't know it, you will better be very good at the basics. If you're good at basics, I bet you कोई भी क्वेश्चन आराम से बन जाएगा, क्योंकि गीस फॉर गीस का डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आ जाएगा। We invest a lot of time in creating those questions tailor made just for the candidates, right? We invest that amount of time, that means कुछ तो कर रहे हैं हम लोग, which is not in Geeks for Geeks or these kind of platforms. But practicing on that platform really gives you an edge. That helps. But everything is pivoting around that? Absolutely not. Okay. LinkedIn, I'll drop all my social handles. Don't worry. And professional handles. How was IIT KGP like? Cultural fest and everything except from the academics? Okay, so first thing, it was a very good experience. It was a journey. It's really my second home or nth home, whatever you want to call it. Because, you know, when I first went there, things are hard to manage first, right? Because you are actually leaving your comfort zone of your home and then coming to a different college altogether, right? तो एक वो ट्रांजिशन रहेगा, बट दैट आफ्टर दैट ट्रांजिशन द लाइफ इज एब्सोल्युटली ब्यूटीफुल। वहां जाके बहुत बहुत सारी अच्छी चीजें होती है, लाइक इट्स ह्यूज कैंपस फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, राइट? इट्स अ 3800 acres campus. So my department was 2.5 kilometers away from my hostel. So we used to take our cycles 5:30 in the morning, rushing up to the department, because there was one professor who used to love taking that particular class at 6 p.m. Always. And he will keep the AC at 16 degree. And people used to, wrap the muffler and then पढ़ रहे हैं, ऐसा होता था. So it's lovely. कभी कभी ऐसा होता था कि सब चीज ऊपर से जा रही है, अलग अलग प्रोफेसर का ना अलग अलग वहां पर हिसाब है। एक प्रोफेसर होगा जो बहुत सिगरेट पी के आएगा, उसके बाद फिर पूरे टाइम सिगरेट की महक आती रहेगी जब वो पढ़ाएगा, बट ही इज ब्रिलियंट. The way he teaches algorithms, I have never seen anyone teaching like him. Very complex data structures he used to teach us. Absolutely amazing. बहुत ही professional. And then we used to have Professor वहाँ के जो HOD, I think you might have seen his book, Professor Rajiv Mall की आती है, software engineering की book आती है. People used to study that. He is all about presentations, slides. He doesn't write anything on the whiteboard, nothing. He will just play this slides, all the 400 slides he will play, and next, just after that, he'll take a small test, and that will be counted in the grades. ऐसा होता था. So everybody had their own flavor of doing things. जैसे मैंने embedded system का बताया था, मैंने opted for embedded system. That professor was super chill. पूरे semester भर he taught us X, he asked Y and expected Z. Exactly. So that happens. But you learn a lot in that particular process, right? It's a journey. 2 साल ना बहुत ब्यूटीफुल थे. प्रेशर था नहीं, किसको नहीं होता यार. 2 साल में you're trying to achieve that 4 years what B.Tech folks are doing, and you're covering up. And then you have struggles also. Pre-placement talks जब होती हैं, B.Techs are very jealous of M.Techs, वहाँ पे. So they might not even tell the recruitment team कि हाँ M.Tech भी चलता है, we have to go, कि नहीं यार हम भी एक stream है, you please consider us for the at least the technical rounds. And फिर उनको लगता था कि यार हम ये सीट खा रहे हैं. All these things, all jargons, but the life is actually very beautiful there. Those cycle rides, those 12 a.m. noodles, everything is inside the campus. खड़गपुर के बाहर कुछ नहीं है. But campus life was absolutely amazing. बहुत मजा आया. Cool. I'll give my contacts. Sir, should I focus on gate only or do coding parallelly? Please do it parallelly. It is required. Sir, just a addition. Okay. On how much hours you have on your daily basis on studies apart from lectures, self study? Okay, I'll give you a very nice thing. Okay, you will not believe this. I know nobody does, but मेरे से 2 घंटे से ज्यादा सेटिंग कभी नहीं हुई पढ़ाई में, कभी नहीं. उसका प्रॉब्लम ये है ना, एक टाइम के बाद ना, मतलब इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू ग्रास्प फर्दर. सो यूज टू टेक ब्रेक, क्विक ब्रेक. उसमें भी कुछ याद आ जाएगा तो आई जस्ट ट्राई टू रिकॉल कि अच्छा नहीं, अच्छा ये ऐसा होता था, वैसा होता था. यूज टू कम बैक, स्टडी अगेन. बट आई वुड एडमिट वन थिंग कि 2013 में जब दिसंबर में, जब मेरा टीसीएस में नहीं हुआ था ना, जनवरी 1 से मैंने फिर जो लग के पढ़ा था, वो 1 महीना, February 12 को मेरा एग्जाम था. आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर. वो 1 मंथ वॉज लाइक आई वॉज एवरीथिंग ऑल इन. वो लास्ट में आपको देना ही पड़ेगा, भले ही आप कैसे भी अपना स्ट्रैटेजी करो. 2 घंटे, 4 घंटे, किसी को 10 घंटे बैठना है, 10 घंटे बैठो. बट वो लास्ट का 1 मंथ जो होता है ना, दिस ऑल्सो नीड्स टू गेट स्टेबलाइज्ड टू योर स्ट्रैटेजी. यू नीड टू रीइंफोर्स दैट स्ट्रैटेजी. उसी स्ट्रैटेजी के थ्रू ही मैं सारे क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करता था. उसी स्ट्रैटेजी के थ्रू ही मैं सारे प्रॉब्लम्स को अलाइन करता था कि कैसे सॉल्व करना है और कैसे सारे सब्जेक्ट्स के रोज क्वेश्चंस लगाते जाने हैं और रिवीजन करना है. सो 1 मंथ तो मतलब सब कुछ छोड़ के सिर्फ फोकस किया था गेट पे. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट मेरा डेली रूटीन में 2 आवर्स मेरे से ज्यादा नहीं हो पाता था. पीपल यूज टू डू इट, और जिन्होंने किया उनको फल भी मिला भाई. 100 रैंक लगे उन लोगों के. बट यस, मेरा रैंक 179 था. बट अगेन थिंग्स, राइट. सो वही है, इट्स ऑल डिपेंड लाइक कितना आप फोकस कर पाते हो. आपसे अगर फोकस नहीं होता ज्यादा देर, कोई बात नहीं, पर जितने देर होता है उसमें सिर्फ उसी पे फोकस रखना है. ऐसा नहीं कि ये भी चल रहा है, पढ़ भी रहे हैं, ये भी चल, नहीं हो पाएगा वैसे. इट इज नेवर लाइक दैट. इवन ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम डूइंग अ कंटेक्स्ट स्विच, राइट, उसका पिछला थ्रेड जो है ना, वो स्लीप में चला जाता है. सो वी आर ह्यूमंस, वी आर नॉट वायर्ड लाइक दैट. हम लोग इधर जाएंगे तो इधर ही चले जाएंगे. It's very difficult to bring our focus back to the studies. So whatever you do, sit with a single focus. Do not multitask a lot while you're studying. At least study when you're saying study. Okay. When the IT sector will come to Chhattisgarh, I am also waiting, buddy. I'll move to Bhilai again. Sir, can you tell us more about prompt engineering? Who is this fellow? Vrishak. I'll cover that at the very end. Sir, if someone don't have any idea about what coding and how and where can we start from the very basic documentations, right? Start from the very beginning. Focus on your object oriented programming concepts. Learn about what is a class, why a class is required. क्योंकि पहले तो प्रोसीजरल प्रोग्रामिंग चली रही थी सी में, क्यों क्लासेस एंड ऑब्जेक्ट्स की जरूरत पड़ी. लर्न अबाउट दैट. Then understand the different concepts, like why polymorphism was required, why abstraction is required, right? Why inheritance was derived, क्यों ये सब concepts की जरूरत हुई. First get that knowledge, keep implementing those things in any particular language of your choice. At this particular point of time, syntax doesn't matter. Pick any language, practice these concepts, and then you can start coding. Okay. How to apply for Microsoft? You will come to know. There is a website, I think, where you can get the opportunities. I'll share that website also. If you're having some access, you can actually check it out. Do professors from top IITs help in students in problem solving abilities? Yes. That's why they are there. It is difficult to get their attention, but if you figure that piece out, you can actually sit with a professor. He'll be more than happy to help you. If your concern is genuine, if he knows that you're not wasting his time or her time, then they will go above and beyond to help you. There are experts from very, very different fields. They're बहुत पहुंचे हुए लोग हैं, and they have vast knowledge. और वो हमेशा help कर, every time they are ready to help. But there will be some prerequisite knowledge which they will expect that यहाँ student आया तो ये तो पता होगा, इसलिए coding उसमें से एक है, right? Similarly, things go along, like which language you choose for coding also. क्योंकि वहाँ कोई पूछेगा नहीं कि इस language बनाओ उस language. Specific कोई रहते हैं, जैसे कि if you they really want you to know how multi-threading works, you can make a thread in C# like this, but they will ask you to do it in C. Then you need to leverage POSIX threads. तो वो सारी चीजें tricky हो जाती हैं. But those things will be like, उनको उसके लिए time मिलेगा. Enough time will be given to you for R&D. By enough time, I mean one day. Sir, is Hindi is used in top IITs or English only? Okay. Short answer. I used to have my project meetings with my guide. When I am saying in English, he is replying back in Bengali. That's how it is. You need to adapt. That is my key thing for you. Because it happens, right? So 2 साल में खड़गपुर में at least I got to know कि like Bengali सुन के कैसे समझते हैं. वो एक रैंप अप था, बट इट्स नॉट वेरी मच डिफिकल्ट, मुझे तो ऐसा लगा. But mostly people are ready to speak in English. English is somehow common language, common medium has been established right since long. So yes, that's the way to do it. Hindi mushkil hai unless you are in a specific region where Hindi is actually very generally spoken, sorry, right? Sir, important topics in DSA, please ask Siddharth, sir. I'm not an expert. Sir, I'm preparing for GATE CSE, but my degree is AI in ML. And so company experts who teaches us in ML and Python focuses to to learn more about it, but his teaching is abstract. So how can I keep my markup to level for ML also? Okay. So if you are not aware, there is a very nice course or set of courses which is offered by the father of ML, which is called Andrew Ng. His lectures are really, really good. So if you really want to, play around ML algorithms, how they work, how reinforcement learning works and everything, there are avenues in Coursera, there are avenues in deeplearning.ai. You can go through those courses and it can actually benefit you a lot. Or if you know any AI ML experts, you can reach out to them. Sir, give us an insight on the present recession going on in the tech industry. Absolutely lovely question. I was about to cover this. And then I'll take that prompt in engineering one. Okay. Recession? Is there recession? What do you think? Yes, no, koi kuch to bolo yaar. Yes, there is. There is recession. You know why? Know why? Because the financial situation in US is not stable. Okay. And it is still not stable till this date. Few of the companies are doing good, but few of the companies are still struggling and they're still firing folks from their jobs. Even I know a very dear colleague of mine got fired from Microsoft as well. We fired around 735 candidates from Hyderabad campus in March. So it was very tense at that particular point of time. It is mostly on performance basis how they're firing, but last 1 year, I have not heard any kind of recruitment drives happening. Okay. So this year, fortunately, we got 2 interns in our team. So we are hopeful that this year at least we'll have that recruitment drive and hope to be part of that. Okay. So you should have, okay, I remember the website's name, career.microsoft.com will have all the job openings which are there, but you might not have direct access to it. Only the publicly available job IDs will be present there. You can search your way around if you want to apply. There are internships also. There are forums. From the next time onwards, if I get any kind of email, internal email, I'll try to, forward here as well as in my con forum so that people can actually show their interest and I can forward those resumes forward, right? So that people can actually leverage that. Okay. Apart from this, before I jump to the prompt engineering, any other questions you have? I see the chat is blank now. Yeah. Sorry? Recession affects everyone. Everyone. See, if there are no jobs, why would people hire, right? I'm telling you, right, in the last year, I have not recruited a single person because there were no recruitment drives happening. We are ready to take interviews, but HR is not, right? They know the financial conditions right now. We are not going to get a salary hike this year. That was announced last quarter. So we are not supposed to get salary hike this year. So the next hike will be in September 2024. That's how bad the thing is, right? I'm just telling you the real things, right? I'm not going to, paint all the rainbows and unicorns in front of you until that things are going good, but they are getting stabilized is what I can assure you, because there are multiple avenues in generative AI. This is one of the initiatives, right? Where we are doing some R&D, we are establishing new use cases, new avenues to, aid customers and the stakeholders who are actually invested in these software giant companies, right? They're interested now and then they're ready to invest more, right? So that's how it is, right? If people are interested, people invest money in those companies will generate revenue, they'll recruit more people to get that done. That's how the cycle is. Anything else, or else I'll go to the prompt engineering thing. Okay. What is a prompt engineering? It's actually a new domain, I would say, in computer science. Okay. So I'll tell you a brief on what I am doing. Okay. So I'm actually developing a co-pilot experience. What's a co-pilot experience? Basically, you must have heard about ChatGPT, right? Anybody who is not aware of ChatGPT? I think everybody is. Okay. So ChatGPT is basically a conversing interface where you ask some questions and it is doing some call to a generative AI model. In this particular case, ChatGPT is using GPT. GPT is the base model, the large language model, right? Facebook or Meta has their own, which is called Llama. Google has something called Bard, right? These are specifically large language models, which are nothing but they're trying to mimic human intelligence. Okay. So to work with these models, right, what we do is we give them instructions. Think of it like this. Okay. When we used to interact with a computer or a hardware, right, what we did, we came up with coding, right? It's a complex language through which the computer understands what we want to achieve from them. Similarly, for a generative AI model, right, it works on natural language. That means English. We give that model instructions in English and then it yields output. So how does this model work? This model is basically understanding and predicting the next token after the current token. What is a token? It is a word. So if I've written what, it will try to predict what will come after that particular word. A token is nothing but 4 letters in English. And currently, ChatGPT is using GPT-3.5 Turbo. That's the base model which is used. Okay. And that model has a token limitation of 4,000. So what we call in a normal language, we call GPT-3.5 Turbo as a 6-year-old kid. Actually, because when we are writing prompts for that particular model. When we are explaining things, we are explaining to that minute detail, like we are explaining things to a 6-year-old. Okay. And we have very concise amount of words, right? We have only 4,000 tokens. So we're writing very concise prompts to, get what we want to achieve. But now the thing is, there is GPT-4, which has come in. There is also Llama 2, which is working with 7 billion tokens. So now the era of generative AI is upon us. So basically, the new use cases or the new avenues of research around generative AI is coming in. And soon we will be coming, getting away from the coding, and will start writing prompts. And generative AI is actually helping a lot. Has increased my day-to-day coding abilities also. I have not visited Stack Overflow in 1 month. I have been using GPT for that. It is that good. And eventually we'll need to communicate with GPT with prompts only. So it's a new area. It's very different because the person who was in tech industry, right? Currently, we used to write unit test cases for everything, every feature we developed in an enterprise application. There is no particular way to write tests for GPT-based applications right now because the output itself is not, deterministic right now. It's very difficult to predict that, okay, this output is certainly going to be a part of it. It's not, but it surprises us in many ways. We are still experimenting on it and continuing our research around it. So that's about prompt engineering. Anything else? Yep. I will not say that it will take over the jobs. I will say that whosoever who is not leveraging these generative AI models will not have that edge over those who actually know how the GPT works. If you are getting friendly with the generative AI models enough, if you can write prompts, it will actually boost up your skill and it will reduce the development time of your particular feature which you are working on in the software industry. Okay. So you need to get on this bandwagon, understand what it is. And there are avenues. There are deep learning.ai courses on prompt engineering. It's superb. You can actually do it. It's 1 hour, only 1 hour. It's all on Python, if somebody is familiar. So you can go around. I'll just check for some questions in the chat and then we can close. How important is changing companies for the fresher? It actually depends, right? I am 7 years old in Microsoft, but never have I ever thought of, changing my company. People do this because they have different focus. Maybe they are, they are not liking the work culture, or maybe they're not satisfied with what they're working on. They switch. Sometimes money is the motivation. Okay, I'm not getting paid enough in a particular company. Let's switch to the different company so that I can get paid better. It all depends. But for me, what has worked out is in Microsoft, at least for me, I have been getting consistently different work every year. So I work on a completely different tech stack, completely different. Started with UX, I worked on Angular, switched to Service Fabric, then I switched to containerized Docker images and Kubernetes, and then switched to, again, UX, React.js, and now I'm currently working with LLMs. It's very diverse, always. So I'm getting enough opportunities to work in Microsoft, right? So, and I'm also getting paid well. So I didn't think of, leaving Microsoft. But there are teams in which, people struggle to find the job or the work which are meaningful to them. So they switch, or they feel that they're not getting paid enough, then they switch. That's how it is. Cool. बहुत बोल लिया आज मैंने. I think we are good to close. All right. How can I leave my details? Can I leave here? This is the stylus. I don't know how does this work. Okay, let's try. My name is if you want to find me on LinkedIn, look for Aviral Srivastav, who is software engineer 2 at how do you rub? How do you rub? There is an eraser. Oh God. Shit. I'm getting bored. Nice. This is nice. At Microsoft. My contact number is my email ID is do not judge me on my email ID. It's long. I know that. And if you want to follow me on social media, I am on Instagram as again, it is a pen at AV1RAL. Please do follow if you require anything else you want apart from these details. You're good, right? I hope it's visible on the chat. All right, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for your time. Can someone call Siddharth, sir? I hope this was useful. पता चला मैं बहुत ज्यादा बात कर लिया एंड देन क्यों ये बात कर रहे हैं, कहाँ से आया है पता नहीं, ऐसा तो नहीं लग रहा ना?
ठीक है, फिर आज की क्लास ओवर है, फिर नेक्स्ट क्लास में मिलते हैं, फिर बाय बाय।